Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Maitri, and I'm kind of new to tabletops, but I'm very passionate about it, and I am learning to be a better GM, better player, and a better person, and I want to share with you some of the cool stuff that I'm learning. Purpose here is to talk about sort of different concepts, and they probably exist in pretty much any game in any system, and see if there's a way for you to incorporate them into your game and your play. One of the things that I'm doing to become better is I try to play in as many games as I can, different people, different systems. I don't commit to campaigns, but increasingly, to my great benefit, one shots to short 3 to 6 session adventure arcs are becoming more prevalent, and I can jump onto those. I try to jump onto those whenever I can. One of the things that I'm learning through the process is that it's significantly easier to get into games or even to get games going as a player if people want to play with you. So there's a couple of things that I've learned that they will make GMs think about inviting you the next time they plan a game, and might even incentivize them to be like, I had a really great time with this person and with these people, and I'd like to do that again, so I'm gonna run a game. So it might incentivize running a game at all, which is really cool. So I'm gonna skip over like the obvious ones, like, don't be a dick, don't be on your phone, because like I should need to tell you that, but like, don't be a dick and don't be on your phone. But apart from that, the first one, have a character that wants to do the thing. This is a game about a group of people doing a thing together. If you make a lone wolf type character, the entire first bit is spent like with the GM and the other players having to sort of convince you to come along onto the quest. And that's like super not fair for everybody else at the table. At best, it's not fair. At worst, it's selfish bullshit. So, I mean, reluctant heroes are a great literary trope, but this isn't a book, babe. Like, it's a game, with like a bunch of other people, and they probably have work in the morning, so they shouldn't have to convince you that like they want you to do the thing when they just want to like spend the time doing the badass thing themselves. Well, it's not what my character would do. They wouldn't go on this quest. Well, why the fuck not, man? Like, your character doesn't exist in a vacuum. They are an amalgamation of decisions made by you. Make the decision to go out of a typical behavior and go on the quest, and you can address it in the game as something interesting, like, wow guys, I super didn't see myself coming along for this ride. And then that's a really interesting story beat. And even the king of lone wolves, Strider, puts aside his lone wolfiness like 20 minutes into the first Lord of the Rings movie. So have a character that wants to do the thing. Second is, in a game where you don't know the rules super well. First of all, don't let that stop you from signing up for games, because people are a lot more generous with their spirits when it comes to things like this, than you might consider. So don't let your lack of knowledge stop you. Certainly, like, if you feel like you know so little that you might actually impede gameplay, you should ask the GM if that's okay, because if they're running a game for more veteran players and have some complexity built in because of that, that's something they should know ahead of time, and they should be able to address that with you, because otherwise you won't have fun, they won't have fun, whatever. So just talk to them about it, but don't let it stop you from signing up. But certainly have the conversation. But anyway, in a game where you don't know the rules super well and therefore you don't really know what you can do mechanically, just state your intention and let the GM tell you how to resolve it. For example, let's say you're on the trail of a murder mystery. You walk into the dusty bedroom of the victim. You don't really know the rules of the game, so you're like, okay, I'm looking around for anything that catches my eye. That's your intention. So in D&D 5e, your GM might say, okay, cool, roll me investigation check. In Savage Worlds, and be like, alright, roll me notice check. And, if you're playing a system like Trail of Cthulhu, your GM might come back to you and say, okay, well, what are you looking for exactly? Look through your occupational abilities, let me know what specific knowledge you're relying on. So, because in that system, it is assumed that investigations will definitely turn up clues, but you rely on your character's abilities to interpret those clues. But either way, the GM is kind of walking you through how to sort of get to where you want to get to, but you need to state your intention first. So not only will this help you kind of grok the rules a little bit better over time, because you're learning by doing, you're not stalling the game because you don't know the rules as well as the GM or anybody else or whatever. So state your intention and let the GM help you resolve it. Number 3, engage with other players. I'm not saying metagame, I mean in the game. Have interactions with your party. You are definitely going to be interacting with whatever world your GM puts in front of you, and the NPCs, and that's great, but it is, it's rare, even in a lot of veteran groups, for players to engage with other players. And I can tell you as a GM, it fucking warms your heart to see your players engaging with the other people at the table. Like, they'll interact with your world, they'll interact with your NPCs, like, that's a no-brainer, that's the game. But to see them get so into their character that they're engaging with somebody else's character in this world is really cool. And, like, it's gonna be a lot of fun for you as well. This is especially great if that player has been kind of shuffled aside for whatever reason, or not really had a chance for spotlight, or they're new, to the system, so they've been kind of quiet, they don't really know what to do, and that kind of thing. And you kind of pulling them in that way makes you a really engaged team player. It doesn't have to be like a big thing, just a little bit of small talk. It'll make you feel good. It'll make the other player feel good, and it'll make the GM feel good that you are engaging beyond what has just been planned for. This particular piece, I feel like, is worth diving into some more. So I actually have another video about encouraging RP as a player that I'll link in the description if you want to check it out. Moving on, number 4. If you have a line, veil, or X card, try to let your GM know ahead of time. Of course, things come in game, use those tools, that's what they're there for. But if you already know that there might be something in the game that doesn't sit well with you, it's completely appropriate for you to have a private chat with your GM. It doesn't have to be this public thing where you share it with the whole group, though certainly if you want to, you can. But my point is that privacy is very much available for you should you want it, should you need it. So I'm gonna have a separate video about lines, veils, and X cards in general, but basically what they are, for people who don't know, is it's a way to indicate to the person running the game that there are certain elements that are typically present in storytelling that make you really uncomfortable, that take the game from being fun to being like anxiety causing, possibly touching on triggers, like bringing up past trauma. Like it can, there are elements to a narrative, things like assault, things like abuse of, children or animals, or lots of different things I'm not going to go through and list here, but I'm gonna have a different video on XRs on the fails to kind of explore that, and safety tools in general a little more. But my point is, if you have something that you know is going to be some kind of way for you, let the GM know ahead of time as much as you can. I personally have one that tends to come up in more sort of action-oriented, like actiony games with like guns and explosives and like that kind of thing. And I have made it a point to tell and it's really only affected the actual plot once. And even then the GM was like, listen, it's not a big deal. It's really just there for flavor. We can engage with that element a different way, which is really cool. That's really what the conversation should be. It should be a two-way street, because after you've mentioned this, if a GM disregards or dismisses this, you don't want to play with them. Or maybe you still do, but either way, you have the information now to make an informed decision. On the other hand, if what you've shared is fundamental to the game and cannot really be modified, the GM can tell you that ahead of time, and you can make another informed decision to say, okay, well, is this the right game for me? Or should I bow out? Or do I think I am able to sort of like still enjoy the game, even though I know sort of the triggering nature of some of the content? Either way, the point is, if you have those elements, talk about them ahead of time. If you are able to, certainly, like I said, if anything comes up in the game, use the safety tools available to you, because that's what they're there for. But if you have something that you know of already, it's good to let people know ahead of time. And again, it doesn't have to be public. Make it really private. You can have it private with your GM and kind of take it from there. Number 5. After the session, thank your GM and fellow players. Everyone took time out of their lives to be here, and it's just nice to be appreciative and honor that. If you want to go the extra mile, a short 2 or 3 line note to the GM on Discord or wherever, thanking them and commenting on one specific thing you enjoyed, will really make their day. It's super nice when anyone is appreciative at all. It's extra nice to feel like someone is putting a little bit of extra effort for you. And honestly, it takes like no time to do, and you'll be putting a smile on someone's face. Like, that's pretty great. So yes, those are some specific ways to show that you are a kind and engaged player. And, maybe the GM won't know exactly why, but they'll know they had a really good time with you. And the next time they run a game, you'll probably be on the call list. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.